Let me kind of share with you a little bit about the history of these meetings, what is the purpose, and what is the dynamic. So these meetings actually started around 8 years ago in Denver, Colorado, where I am actually located. It really took off during the pandemic, which is great because it really became global. So we can be anywhere and we just connect. Gloria, nice to see you.
Yeah.
So, so we have some time, and I was very fortunate enough to start this meeting. So I really love this. I really believe in and how important it is for us to invest in ourselves and invest in women. So that's kind of the background there. The way that this meeting actually go is we introduce ourselves, we tell who we are, what we do, where we are located. It's important also, and what is a good contact for us. Let's be very specific about what will be a good lead for us, so everybody knows exactly. And at the end, I usually add something, and today I'm gonna add something about what do you do when you need to unwind. Have a long day, long week. What are you doing to unwind? The purpose of these meetings is that we not only learn about each other, but also connect and learn from each other. So I'm going to start with myself, and then I will call someone. And then as soon as you finish, you call somebody else until we finish. And then we get the part of learning something. My name is Maria Panan. I am from Bogota, Colombia, but I have been living in Denver for 30 years. I actually have an institute. My background is in education, and we actually certify people in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And a good lead for me is anybody who is really serious about investing in DI and want to learn about what is the history, how to measure results. That is, we have a program that is an online self-paced, that is for 6 weeks. This is not the check the box. I believe we are the only one in Colorado, at least, that are actually working with the U.S. Department of Education. So our certification is actually one of the best certifications, because I'm working in the institute, but I truly believe that the more we know, the better we are as human beings and as for everybody around it. Okay, so what I do, the next question is, what do I do for unwinding? When, I've been doing, I sometimes, I start doing crochet. I start doing knitting. I took a class and really helped me to kind of reset myself. Sometimes I watch TV, but I'm not really watching. I just feel just don't think. So I try to find things to just relax, especially my mind. And I found knitting very helpful the most. Sometimes I do both. I knitting and I watching something. What? I don't know, just watching something. Sometimes I read, but that's how I want. So now I'm going to pass to Victoria.
Thank you so much. And hello, everybody. Lovely to see you all. I recognize a couple of faces. I think Anita, we've had a one-to-one, certainly. So I'm based here in London, the UK. I'm calling in from my afternoon this afternoon. And I am a communication coach and cultural intelligence trainer. And I work in the space of helping global professionals to elevate and amplify their communication style so they can step up and into global leadership. And they are really keen to do this so that they can connect with people all around the world, with people they're working with remotely, and to grow themselves and their career, but also to grow their businesses as well. So in terms of who I'm looking to connect with, I am really excited about connecting with any talented and ambitious global leaders and wannabe leaders that you know. So people primarily in corporate world who are accelerating their career and looking to build their global career. And they know that their communication skills are critical to their success. It's about how they're going to be able to build trust, rapport, and collaboration effectively all around the world. So if you know anybody who is like this, I would love to talk to them for a call and to share with them my Global Leader Communication Program, where we focus in on the four key pillars of global leader communication, which is confidence, clarity, challenging conversation, and connection. So those are the kinds of people that I would love to meet wherever they're based around the world. Um, the final question about how I like to unwind. Well, even though London is the capital city of the UK and is a major city, really quite large, it's a city that, if you've ever visited, is incredibly green and there are loads of green spaces. So, despite the fact I live fairly centrally in London, I often like to go and wind by walking outside, seeing greenery, seeing nature. And there's a surprising amount of wild green nature here in London. And that is one of my favorite things to do. London is also a great city for getting lost and walking in the back streets. And there's always something new to discover, some history, some interesting architecture. So if you ever come over to London, give me a shout if any of you are over here, and I'll show you my favorite places to go visit. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to call on Dominique. Would you like to go next?
Yes, of course. I apologize. I hopped into the meeting quite late. My name is Dominique, and I am here in Texas, San Antonio. I have a company called Dominion Strategies. We are a financial services firm, and I joined this group, or I joined today because I wanted to connect with other women business owners because I do feel like we all have very similar experiences, especially in my industry where it's male dominated. So any kind of woman relationship that I can relate to, I'm just very happy and grateful to have around me. And so I wanted to kind of get everybody's perspective on their specific industry and how they've been able to successfully navigate something in difficult instances, especially here with when there's a lot of men and it's hard to kind of relate to certain issues and being that we're client heavy, sometimes a woman's touch makes more sense in terms of communication. So I'm here to connect with many wonderful women who are also business owners. And I believe, Victoria, there was a question that we were supposed to answer as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my understanding, oh, Maria, do you want to explain?
Victoria, please take it. I love when somebody else explain the routine.
So my understanding is the final question, well, actually, who would you like to connect with? Like, who would you like to
Okay.
meet? And how do you like to unwind? We're sharing some ideas here today.
Sure. The way I love to unwind, so we'll start with the latter question. I love to run. And initially I didn't like running. It was just, very strenuous for me, but over time I do love to run because I like to, it relaxes me and it gets all the happy feelings afterwards. But just exercise in general is what I like to do to unwind, and then the occasional sleep. I have 3 kids myself, so if I could get some sleep, that would be great as well. I do want to connect with other women as well who happen to perhaps be in an industry where it's a little bit more male dominated or have had the issues with I guess sometimes communication is different. When you're running a meeting, when you're talking to clients, sometimes some emotional connection makes more sense. But I do want to connect with women and maybe just discuss about what they have experienced in terms of something like that.
Okay, and a quick question before I ask you to call someone to talk is, um, what will be a good lead for you in business?
Yes, so right now we are growing our firm and we're focusing on a lot of women advisors, financial advisors. So that would be a good lead for me. My husband and I, we also have a company in Mexico. And so if we're looking for women who are wanting to get into financial services and not necessarily maybe more perhaps initially on the administrative side and then learn a little bit more on how to deal with clients and things like that. So we are wanting in terms of leads, anybody who may want to, a woman in particular who may want to be in the financial services industry.
Thank you, Dominic. Now you can call someone.
Sure. Okay. Let's see how Larissa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Larissa. I am located north of Chicago. I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So right in the middle of the US. And I work for a firm called Ian Wasselick. And Dominique, I definitely relate. I am the only woman on the team of 5. And, you know, I have wonderful colleagues, but it also is different. And it's something to get adjusted to. And since I'm newer, you probably have more tips for me than in the other direction. But yeah, absolutely. So we specialize in helping small firms who have some experience in internationalization, and we develop their international markets. So most of our business has been US going abroad, but since I used to work with the German American Chamber of Commerce, I've been working more on the inbound side of things. So a good lead for me would be, yeah, any sort of small to medium-sized company that wants to experience a new market, maybe figure out, you know, if it's a fit for them, or yeah, that sort of thing. If they need research or if they need sort of on the ground support, we're there for that. A way I unwind, I love to walk. My ideal day is like 10 to 12 miles wandering a city, but of course, no one has time for that. So, but that's my ideal day, is just walking and being outside. That really makes me feel very, very good. So I try to make that a priority. Let's see. I call on Andrea.
Good morning, good morning. And thank you so much, Maria, for having this meeting. I appreciate it. I am in Phoenix, Arizona, and right now it's just absolutely beautiful outside. I am a speaking and authentic leadership coach and trainer, and I primarily focus on working with leaders, people in corporations, individuals who want to get better at delivering their message in front of groups, whether or not that group is a public speaking, an employee speaking process, meetings, even and sales conversations. Those are the areas that I work on, helping individuals and groups clarify their message and deliver them with impact. And I work from the inside out. So much of my focus is on helping people get into that energetic space that is going to communicate who they are. Because they often say people get you energetically before you open your mouth. And I heard a quote just yesterday, is that words create worlds. So however you're showing up, you are creating a world. And so how do you want that to be? And so much of that is unknown to us. You know, a lot of us have blind spots, myself included, about that. So I'm a credentialed coach. I am certified in neurolinguistic programming, in the leadership circle profile, in positive intelligence, blah, 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 you know, all of that good stuff, which really, and I also have decades of experience being on many, many types of stages. So for me, there are lots of things I love about what I do, but one of the things that I have found just to be a blast is to work with organizations who need to put their subject matter experts in front of their vendors or prospects or clients to educate them. So they have these conferences and they put these people out in front of these groups and they have no clue how to do this and they're terrified. And so I've been hired to work with these folks to get them at least somewhat prepared, more prepared than they would be, to be able to experience success in those venues. And oftentimes those are conferences or meetings of some type. And I just find that to be a hoot. And I've done that both in person and on Zoom. So that's a lot of fun. The other thing that I've recently done is I've gotten my certification from the federal government as a woman-owned small business. So I'm so excited about that because now I can meet the needs for global corporations, whomever that needs to fill a set aside. They have to have a woman-owned small business. And if they need what I do, I can support that for them. So that's something new that's just happened this past week. So I'm excited about that. So that's a little bit about me, what I love to do to unwind, and I'm hearing many people talk about this. I like to get my feet on the earth. You know, I'm fortunate to be in Arizona because there's all kinds of places. It may be really hot in Phoenix, but you can go up north, you can put your feet in the earth, you can walk, you can see green and be in nature. And that's what I do to unwind, in addition to hugging my doggy. Or I have these mats that you lay on, and they basically put your frequencies and your molecular structure back in alignment, right? Because we get so bombarded by so much stuff. And I love to do that. And boy, in 15 minutes, I'm a noodle. So it's great. It's the greatest thing ever. So that's me. And again, I appreciate being here. And I'm going to call on Ms. Gloria. Good to see you, Gloria.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Wow, I've had I zoomed in as Maria was talking about memory, right? Is that what I caught? Oh my God, this morning has been horrible. Oh my God, I'm having my memory checked. First of all, I thought the Zoom was at 8, then I zoomed in at 8. Then I thought, oh, I got it wrong. It's Mountain Time, it's Pacific Time. I'm getting so messed up. And so then I thought, well, I missed it. It's at 7. And then I'm starting to do something else. And then I get the email, well, in 30 minutes. I thought, oh my God, it's at 9. And then to top it off, a cousin of mine is coming through Sky Harbor on his way to Payson, and I haven't seen him in years. And so he made a lunch appointment that we would meet in this Cave Creek area at 11. Well, the email said 9, but my mind saw 11. So I wrote down 11. So at 9, he's calling me, asking me where I am. Oh, and I thought, do I really want to do this today? So anyway, who's Gloria Peterson? For the past 30 plus years, as you can tell by the color of my hair, I have specialized in seminars, authoring books, conducting speaking engagements in the categories of professional presence, business etiquette, and protocol. More recently, I decided to venture in a little different direction. I think COVID had an influence on me because we were all forced to kind of rethink our lives, to reflect. I mean, we had all this time to do all that kind of stuff that we tend not to do because we're busy. And I went into more of a mindfulness journey. And in that mindfulness journey, I was dealing with a lot of stuff, as we all do periodically, deal with stuff. And I was trying to figure out, what is this whole mindfulness movement? And so I went on YouTube and started watching videos. And as a result of that, I broke it down into like 7 categories. I mean, if you really think about it, it's all about, gratefulness, affirmations, in, wisdom, spirituality. I mean, there's a whole gamut of things. So I decided I couldn't find the journal that fit what I wanted. So I'm an author. Why not? I wrote 4 professional development books. I can do this one. So I wrote a journal, and then it did well. And so I wrote another one. So I have another one out there now, and it's called Mindfulness and Health Watch. I bring that up because so many of you have identified walking as the thing you enjoy doing. And I had at one point I had a full body scan, a full physical. And I said, I've never had a brain scan. Have any of you had brain scans? And I found out that I had a minor stroke in my history that I didn't know about because there's a stroke scar. And as a result of that, there are things in my history that I can't recall because it damaged it, wiped it out. And I thought, geez, that's a lot to accept. And so that's why I kind of went on the mindfulness journey and then tried to figure out a way to make my brain healthier. as a result of that. And a lot of you talked about walking. And in Phoenix, I'm from Chicago area. I think I'm looking. Larissa, you said you're from Chicago? Is that correct?
I am, yes.
Okay, well, that's where I'm from, and I love all the greenery there. And then I come here in Phoenix and I get to enjoy cactus. I'm so done with cactus. I'm sorry, Andrea, but I'm really done with cactus. They bloom. You see these postcards with these amazing blooms, but nobody tells you they only last 2 days.
Well, that's
And
why
but
that's why you go up north. And I live in a green belt, Gloria, so I get to see green all the time.
well, we have a grassy area, and for those of you like, yeah, what do I like to do when I like to unwind? My favorite thing to do is to go out dancing, but that's not always a possible thing to do. And my favorite music is disco, so you can imagine that. If disco's playing, I can't sit still. I'm out of here. But that's it. I'm on the floor, and I don't get off that floor until the disco movie has moved on to something else. But that's not always not always easy to find and easy to do. But we do have a little bit of a green belt in my community here, so I like to walk barefoot on the grass. Unfortunately, we have fire ants, and if you don't know where they are, and I think I'm allergic to them because they make big welts that really itch. So I keep my tennis shoes on, but I like to walk through the grass. And there's a pond nearby. I like to sit and watch the ducks and the geese, and people, fathers teaching sons how to fish. Those kinds of things, just to get out and hear the chirping of the birds and the just to hear everything and become more mindful of what's going on in nature. That's my favorite thing to do. I have something, Dominic, you said you financial services, right? Okay, I have somebody in the Global Chamber Network that you should connect with, and it's Junko Horvat. Have you met her?
I have not. May I?
Okay, this is her book.
Oh,
I've
funny.
read it. She'd be a great person for you. See her name?
Yeah. Can we type it into the group
I
chat?
sure can.
Thank you.
She's totally amazing. She's in the Global Chamber Network, and she wrote this book, and it's for women.
Wow.
She has a woman focus. She says a lot of women don't know how to handle their lives when they're going through divorce.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't prepare for it financially and all those things. So this is really heartfelt as it comes to women and their financial ability.
Correct.
So I grabbed that book right
Yeah.
away when I heard
Statistically
you.
on that side, when it comes to divorce, they have a hard time.
Yeah, right. And Victoria, you're in London, right? When I wrote my last mindfulness journey, there's another member in our group called Michael Quigley. Have you met him?
Oh, I know Michael really well. Yeah,
Ah,
no, he came on my podcast recently. I did an interview with him. He's great. I love Michael.
well, the funny thing about Michael is when I did the second journal, I had some people from the first journal say, well, Gloria, I like your journal. It's pretty. It talks about mindfulness. I don't get it. And I thought, okay, I got to explain this thing better. So I decided to look for experts. I had met another member on, this is what's so great about the Global Chamber. There's an author community here. And I reached out to some of those authors who specialize, like one particular author specialized in affirmation, another one in, something else, but they fit my categories. I don't want to spend a lot of time going into that. But I reached out to Michael and I says, Michael, would you like to write a column for me in this journal? And I have 2 categories open. I'm looking, this is cute. I'm looking for somebody to write. One is on wisdom and the other one is on kindness. And I think the third one was on inspiration. No, I don't remember what it was. But anyway, I said, I figured he'd go for the kindness one. He went for wisdom. And I said, Michael, you're too young. You're way too young for that category. And he goes, but I have my own take on it. Okay. So he wrote a column in that book on wisdom, and he references the wisdom we can learn from our dog.
Yep. Well,
Interesting. Yeah, Michael's got a lot to say, actually. He's really, really inspiring guy. Like, if you're not following his podcast, Catahulas, or find Michael Quigley on LinkedIn. He's a really, really interesting guy.
yep. Yeah.
And Andrea and Victoria, I think with the topic areas that we all dive into, there's some synergy in this group.
Yep, totally.
We
Yeah.
really complement what each other's trying to accomplish.
Yep.
So I'll move on to, and who I have to pass the baton to. I don't know who hasn't spoke yet. Bernadita? Bernadita? Did I say your name correctly?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, thank you. It's wonderful to meet everyone again. And I guess before I forget, I met my first client in this Globinar meeting. And since then, I think I have 6 clients now. So I'm very thankful for that because she just fully supported me and believed in what it was I'm doing. And so I'm based in Manhattan, New York. My name is Bernadita Cali now. I'm an environmental planner, founder and CEO at Walkspan. And and we were talking about synergies, and it was really fascinating listening to everyone because my company is a startup and it's a data and technology company focused on advancing sustainability and walkability. And so we built a neighborhood intelligence platform so people can find not only the property that they like, but the neighborhood that they like. And when we talk about neighborhood, we focus on 2 things. One is the neighborhood feel and the neighborhood gems, because the focus is on how much can you walk. You don't have to use transportation at all. It's just exploring everything within a 5, 10, and 20-minute walk from your property. So in real estate, there's a very solid structure on finding the property, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, but there is no real structure in finding the neighborhood. Like I need to be within a 5-minute walk of Italian restaurants or a pub, it's especially like in England. If there's no pub, I'm not moving there within a 5-minute walk. So we have that platform that can help you, and maybe sometime I'll be happy to show it to you. But the whole idea is focused on walkability, and so what I do during my free time is clearly also to just keep walking and really explore Manhattan and the parks. And actually, I heard somebody talk about what is the highest form of meditation, and this is one of those meditation gurus. And I thought he might say sit down and close your eyes, and he said walking. So that was very, very interesting. So my ask is actually to meet with real estate professionals and companies so that I could share this new paradigm shift toward not just focusing on property, but focusing on neighborhood, because millennials and baby boomers, 90% of them think that walkability is important. And Americans in general, 78% are willing to pay more to move to walkable cities. So I'm hoping that what we have will help them find their happy place. Yeah.
That's
So
great. Bernadita, did you know Vilma?
yeah, she's the one. She's my
Oh.
first client. Yeah.
She's
She's
great. So,
amazing.
yeah, she's from
I
Colombia.
adore her. She's amazing.
Great.
Yeah. Mhm.
Perfect. So the next thing for you is, how do you unwind?
Yeah, I walk a lot, and in New York City, that's a wonderful thing. There's so many data points in one sidewalk. You'll find 200 things that will really make you, enjoy what you see. And also, I'm 10 minutes away from like Lincoln Center, so it's very easy to go and watch shows, discount shows. Yeah. So that's nice.
That's really good. Do you want to call someone? I believe
Oh, yeah.
Gone. Yeah, we have. Yeah,
Would you like to call on Jean
Okay.
Zacharias?
Hi, good morning or good evening to you, Victoria. I'm Jeannie Zacharias, and I'm in Los Angeles. I apologize for the weird lighting. I'm in our living room, not my office, but this is my first time here, so nice to meet you all. I am a marketing and communications director for a small tech startup here in LA, and one of 3 women in a senior management position, so I can relate to a lot of what's been said. I am looking for my next opportunity to move on, so I wanted to connect more as an individual than on behalf of a company or my own company. I also have a pretty extensive background in leadership development, organizational development, and coaching. I'm also a certified integral coach and have done a lot of work to bring mindfulness and wholeness practices into the workplace. That's sort of my passion. And I'd like to get back to that work. And I'm not exactly sure how to do that as an individual without building my own private coaching practice, which feels not impossible, but a little daunting. So I'm not exactly sure who I'm looking exactly to connect with, but I mean, Andrea, I'd love to talk to you, and Victoria, you know, people who are in the world of communications and coaching and building that. It's very interesting to me. Yeah. And so what do I like to do to unwind? I like to read. And though we live in Los Angeles, we are also near a bike path. So I do get out to walk. And if I can get there, I really like to do yoga. That helps me sort of get out of my cerebral mind and drop into my body, which is helpful. So
Thank you so much, Jeannie, and welcome to the group. I hope it's not I know it's the first one, but I hope it's not the last one. We meet every month. It's cool here.
Oh, it's once a month?
Yes,
Oh,
once a
okay.
month we meet. Okay. So I hope to see you again. And you can call someone in the group. Anita hasn't gone yet, for example. Beatriz hasn't gone yet.
Great. Thank you, Maria. Anita.
All righty. This is good. I've been taking notes. Dominique, is she still here or did she leave? Dominique left. I was going to say, I used to work for a bank back in 2005, 2006, and it was very male dominated. My solution was to leave, and I've never looked back. So there you have it. You don't have to take it. And Gloria, you were surprised to find out that you'd had a stroke. I want people to know, because I used to work in cardiac rehab, that you can walk and talk your way through a heart attack. Sometimes you have no idea you've had a heart attack. It'll show up as an inverted T wave on your EKG, just a regular EKG. People confuse heart attacks with cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest, it's redundant to say sudden cardiac arrest because it is sudden by nature, and you don't come back from it unless somebody can thump you or defibrillate you. So don't confuse heart disease, heart attacks with cardiac arrest, because they are all three different processes and three different events. So that has nothing to do with anything right now. Just thought I'd throw it out there. But anyways, hello. I'm so happy to see everybody. I was telling Maria, like, I can't wait for the end of the month. Like, the month starts, I'm like, oh, I have to wait 4 more weeks for this meeting. But yay, here we are. So anyways, I am Anita Rodal, president of SBPI Services. I represent 2 of the world's largest non-bank foreign exchange companies. They save their import and transnational clients money and time when sending and receiving cross-border payments. I'm also a corporate trainer. My About Your Elevator Pitch webinars and workbook are for business professionals like everyone here who do B2B networking, while my private pronunciation coaching is for foreigners looking to reduce their accents when speaking English. Anita Rodal, SBPI Services. That was my elevator pitch, by the way.
Yes.
So, who am I looking to meet for currency exchange? My bread and butter is US based importers, as long as they're importing from countries other than India and China, because they get paid in US dollars. Also, if they're doing business with northern part of Mexico, like the maquiladores, they get, everything is done in dollars. But when you move further south in Mexico, so who was it who said that they're branching into, oh, that might have been Dominique as well, opening in Mexico. But anybody who's importing, if you know, from a foreign country, that's who I'm looking to meet for the currency exchange. For let's see, for the elevator pitch, I'm looking to meet, for example, if you work for a company, the person who handles or is in charge of all the outside sales staff. Because if you're doing networking, so are other people, most likely, and everyone needs big help on their elevator pitches. So if you happen to know people who work for large corporations where they oversee the outside sales staff, or, for example, companies like banks that may offer different types of training as kind of like a value add for their small to medium-sized corporate clients. They're always doing things that will enrich their clients' lives, make them better, and make them more grateful, so they stay with them. These are great webinars to offer for those types of companies to offer their clients. And then for the pronunciation coaching, I work a lot with actors, diplomats, business people like you all, a lot of engineers, a lot of foreign engineers, because they usually work in teams. And they always say, well, I don't get promoted. Well, that's because nobody on your team can understand you. So it's a big problem. So I work one-on-one via Skype. So my clients can be all over the world, or they're based here, but they travel, or I travel. We still are able to meet up because we do it on Skype. What I don't talk about very much in the Global Chamber, because it's my globally focused marketing arm. But domestically, I also do business loans. So I do SBA working capital loans. I do all types of equipment finance, whether it's earth movers like caterpillars and backhoes, or MRI machines, or machining tool machines, or office furniture. And then I also do unsecured business loans, which are very short-term loans. They're more expensive, but they save the day because they can fund in a day. So when it's an emergency or an opportunity that a bank absolutely cannot meet in terms of timing, that's when you want to go with the more expensive loan, because not to do it would cost you a lot more in the long run than to pay the extra amount to secure that opportunity or meet the emergency. What do I do to relax? It depends on the time of the day. If it's during the day, I take a cat hug break. One of my cats, she doesn't like to be hugged. It's her choice when she's on my lap. But my other cat, my blind cat, he's just a squishable cat just waiting to be picked up. So if I get off of a frustrating call or a very long, not this one, Zoom meeting, I am chasing down Radar to squish him for about 5 minutes. If it's the end of the day or the evening, I binge watch something. So I hunt down either The Holiday, Notting Hill, Love Actually, or Les Emotifs on Netflix and Amazon Prime, to see if they're on, because they tend to be seasonal. Sometimes they'll charge for them, but you can actually watch, just so you know. Love Actually, which is a Christmas movie, it's usually free, like in July. They'll run it for like 2 months in July, so you can look for it then. And if none of those are on and I have enough time, then I'll go back and binge watch Emily in Paris, which was my pandemic go-to. And supposedly the next season's coming out, I think in 2025, but I wait till all of them are done. I don't watch it incrementally. I've never been able to do that. I'm a binger, whether it's eating or watching. So I'll wait till the whole season has been shown, and then I will start at about 8 o'clock at night, and I'll be done by 2 in the morning. So that's what I do to relax.
Thank you, Anita. Do you want to pass it to Beatriz, perhaps?
It's my friend from Venezuela who I've never met in person, but we're like dear friends. I brought her into the chamber. She is friends from elementary school with my ex-husband, who I'm still very good friends with. I'm going to Canarias in end of April, so I'll be there then.
Excellent.
But I love Beatriz. It's like I feel like I've known her for years and years.
Yes, we meet almost every Sunday via Zoom. Okay, Beatriz Rodriguez, I'm Venezuelan. I live in Brazil. Baliños is the city. I own a consultation company, BMRB, that is all about quality assurance, industrial microbiology, good manufacturing practices, and open innovation focused on cosmetics, pharma, hygienic, and fabric and home care industries. What I'm looking for are small, mid-sized companies. What I believe need more of that technical help in in good manufacturing practices, reducing microbial contamination, these kind of things, are contract manufacturing that offer their services to other companies, for example. And I offer the services globally. I can speak in Spanish, English, and Portuguese with accent. And what I do for relaxing? Well, I love to do exercise. Lately, we have a neighbors group for beach tennis, and it's lovely. So I burn a lot of energy at the end of the day playing beach tennis. Is really wonderful. But before that, I was doing a lot of exercise outdoors. I love hiking, I love walking, particularly when there is a lot of nature around. Here in Brazil, I'm blessed because there is a lot here, so I do a lot of that. And also, I love doing gardening. I have an art here in my garden, so I'm playing with tomatoes, with ají dulce is just not hot ajíes, no? And well, that's kind of things, herbs. That's what I do for relaxing.
Thank you, Beatriz. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's so important how, I mean, I've been learning that one of the best things for us as women, in general, for everybody, but for us, is to invest in social capital. You can have a lot of money in the bank, but you need to know you have to also invest in your social capital. So we are doing good today. People love to do business with the people that they like, no matter how much technology is out there. That's a fact. So going back to our of what we were talking in the beginning of the meeting, the memory. So I want us to test our memory today. How? Let's see. Let's go around, whoever is the bravest one, and say one thing that you remember for each of us today. One thing that you remember. Anything. Could be what they do, the name, the location, anything. So who wanna take the lead? Just one person, just, okay, Anita, go ahead. And we gotta go around.
I don't trust my memory. I write everything down, but the fact of the matter is that by writing it down, you improve your memory. I had a teacher that proved that to me one time. I made notes to myself about everybody, so it's not really fair to say what I know because it's on here. But things that are that matter to me, like Lori was talking about mindfulness, and Victoria and I have talked before, and so I'm kind of tuning in what she's doing. Bernadita was talking about environmental stuff. My husband studied architecture. I feel like I went through school with him. I did actually, and and so I identify with that. So, and plus I see that there's a hedge on the brownstones behind you. So I automatically kind of like connected green with, environmental with you. So that kind of cemented me. Oh, look at the puppy. So anyway, I didn't memorize anything. I just wrote it all down. I'll transfer it into my notes and I'll have it for the next time.
Perfect.
But I'll tell you that I did that.
Perfect. Victoria, let's go around quick. So we ask, what do you remember from the
I
group?
remember lots of different things, but I suppose, Benedita, your idea of walkability really struck me. I thought that was really interesting. Let me know if you want to connect with any property people in London. Jeannie, I know you said you're looking for a new job and you're interested in terms of coaching, how to break into that. Can I do that by myself or should I do it another way? Larissa, I know you're wanting to expand, like you're helping companies expanding out of the US, and you have a particular association with German American Chamber of Commerce. I remember you talking about there as well. Andrea, we should definitely speak. I think there's lots in common. Equally, Gloria, I don't think we've ever had a conversation, so I think we should. Anita, we've already spoken. Maria, I remember you talking about your crochet. I thought that was really fascinating. I love crochet as well. And I love the fact you bring women together in this way. And Beatrice, work with loads of Brazilian clients, would love to connect and have conversations. And my background, I used to work in marketing, Jeannie, as well. And Beatrice, I used to work in the food industry. So I worked a lot with people manufacturing, contract manufacturing. So I don't know if European contacts are helpful, but why don't we have a conversation and just see?
Thank you so much, Victoria. I believe Larissa raised your hand. So Larissa, go ahead.
Sure. We all had a lot of very motivated people ready to go right away.
Yes.
I have notes of everyone as well, but I think Andrea, what you said about working on the energy that you bring to a conversation or to a sales pitch or whatever, working on that before you work on the outside things, that really struck me because that's something that I'm currently working on with a mentor. So that's something I'm thinking about, and I would love to have a further conversation with you as well.
Okay, well, perfect. Okay, now next move to the next one. Something that actually I would like to talk with that we talk together before we go. We have 9 minutes, and that is something that is how, as women, we can succeed in a male dominant environment. And I will ask Andrea to please share your thoughts on that.
Okay, off the top of my head, I think because I have some experience, I've been in business for myself for 37 years. And prior to that, I worked for several different kinds of organizations. And I worked for a corporation right before I left and went into business for myself. And the thing that I made the decision around, and I think this is really key, I don't care how old you are, what your experience is, who do I want to become? How do I want to show up? What I realized at that time when I was in the corporation, and I was in a senior executive position at a very young age. So I was working with a lot of men and a lot of men who had power. And I realized that I did not want to become like them, because in my view, they were selling their soul. They didn't see it that way, I'm sure, but for me, I just didn't want to have to be the person that I would have to be a political animal. So I made that decision then. And what I realized was, and then working with them then and throughout the rest of my career and now, is there were a few things that were really, I've come to know are very important. One is to have a conviction around what you're doing. In other words, you are the messenger, and when you have that conviction about what you're doing and you believe in it, that can go a long way. And that was number one. Number two, and maybe this is the benefit of losing estrogen. I really never bought into the idea that status and gender made you better than me. And I think part of that was because when I was on I've been on 2,000 stages. I was a singer, a dancer, an actor, a speaker, and I've performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. I've also performed on a flatbed truck in Paris, Tennessee. I mean, I've done the gamut, and I met a lot of celebrities and a lot of people with high status, and they're just like me. They're just like us. There's no difference. And if I just see them as people, and I see how I can serve them and how I can show up with whatever it is that I have to offer, that I have conviction around, that's really what works. It doesn't mean they don't come in with prejudice or stereotypes. I mean, I've dealt with it all. When I was a younger woman, they, saw me as a younger woman. Now, as an older woman, I get that piece, right? So, as women, we just have those things happen. But I just decided not to buy into that and to have some courage about moving forward. And one of the things I love in listening to everyone here is I hear that. And I hear that desire to own it and grow and show up in your power. And you can do that. It's an inside out job. It's how you perceive yourself. It's how you show up. It's how, it's what you bring to the table. And then what they do is what they do, and if it's not working for you, go to the next one. One of the powerful things that I had a therapist do with me one time is you sit down and say, hey, I'd love to work with you. And you get that stuff, you go, okay, next. I don't need to change your mind. I don't need to put that stress on myself. I just moving on, right? Now I know if you work in a company, that's not always an option, but that's kind of how I've worked with men. Sometimes you get, it doesn't work out, but I feel okay about me. And I think that's the bottom line. It took me a long time to get there, but that's where you can get. Is that helpful? Yeah.
Beautiful, Andrea. One question that I have for you, any book that comes to your mind that you have read that you would recommend?
Most recently, I read, and I love this book, and it's very helpful in all your relationships, is Whole Brain Thinking by Jill Bolte Taylor. Jill Bolte Taylor is the one that lost her left brain when she had the stroke, and her first book and TED Talk was My Stroke of Insight. Well, she's recently come out with Whole Brain, and I just finished it, and I gotta tell you, this is it. Okay. Powerful, powerful. It talks about how we have 4 characters in our brains, and when you get to know them and do a brain huddle and figure out where you're showing up and how and who you're talking to. So if I'm talking to a CEO and they're completely in their mental, rational, blah, 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 I can talk to that person. And if I'm talking to the spring break person, yeah, right, I can talk to that. So you can bring that part of yourself that will best serve that, that conversation.
Very important. Thank you so much. I love when you get a good book recommendation. That's the best. So I know we have 4 minutes to go, and I know Gloria wanted to talk. So let's go ahead, Gloria.
Yeah, I don't have the little prompt at the bottom of the screen here that lets me raise a hand. I don't know where that thing went. But as I'm listening to everybody, just an idea that I want to share with everyone. I was at the Extraordinaires group meeting this week, and I made a recommendation to Doug. For those of you, raise your hand if you're multi-languaged, you not just English, but you have other languages. Anita, definitely I zeroed in on you. I made a recommendation, and I think Doug is going to follow through on it, is that he have a series, or however he wants to put it together as a cultural event, that teaches those of us who are not multi-languaged, which I am not, and we are going to be traveling to maybe specific countries, maybe take the time to teach us how to say simple greetings like hello, goodbye, where's the bathroom, directions. What languages would kind of help us when we're in that country to at least be a little bit more viable, if you will. And I think he's going to do it. So those of you who are multi-language and want to teach that kind of skill set in one of these types of sessions, I suggest you get in touch with Doug.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much, Gloria. Thank you, Andrea. And thank you, everybody, for actually today showing up. By showing up, we are doing 90% of what we have to do. I will say, let's give ourselves a global round of applause. We deserve it. We did it together. Yeah, thank you so much. And I will see you next month.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Great to see you
everyone.
all.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.